How you doing?
Everything is great here. How about you?
Everything is really good. We're, got up early to get the social media going, and I wanted to meet up to do the interview, and here I am.
Excellent. Thank you very much for this interview, Jess, for Azteca TV.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for this interview for Azteca TV.
Oh, I'm excited. No problem.
Well, let's start this. Why do you like reptiles? Why reptiles?
So basically, when I was a little kid, I was really poor, had no money, and I was actually adopted. And I had lost my mom when I was 4, and so we just didn't have anything. So a lot of the other kids had a lot of cool things to play with. I had the outside to play with, so I liked hiking and looking for frogs and different kinds of snakes and different things like that. So it kind of became an early, learned thing that I really enjoyed to do. And it was fun and it was adventurous. And I love the adventure. And I love the, hunting out the animals and seeing them. And I would catch them and I would keep some as pets, and I'd do all different kinds of stuff. But it was a really important part of my childhood.
Well, in fact, that love is also not only for your childhood, but also because you start doing business with it. How did you start this? And why did you start this?
Well, the funny part about it is my first business, I became orphaned at 14. My dad had drank himself to death. And what I actually did was
could you start? I'm sorry, Jay. Could you repeat again, please? Because the audio was a mess a little bit.
Okay, try to keep it stable. So basic, 1 second. Step your foot right there. Take away all the stability. Put your foot right there. Okay. Now is that better? Is the angle better, or you want to look? Let's go a little bit up. There you go. Right.
Exactly. Okay. There you are.
So basically, at about 14 years old, the story basically starts about there when I actually ended up orphaned. My dad had drank himself to death. I had nowhere to stay, nowhere to live. And I moved in with a friend, and he basically ended up, one of his nephews was building a boat and said, oh, hey, if you want to build a boat, I'll help you build your boat. And I was working, making enough money to make it. And, and I don't know why I was so adventurous, but basically at 15, I finished the boat, started my own fishing business, and it ended up making quite a bit of money. And in making the money, I all of a sudden was like a kid again, and I could do my kid things, except I could do them on another level. So all of a sudden now I'm buying $1,000 snakes, $1,500 snakes, $2,000 snakes. And it became like a hobby again and a passion. And that passion grew not too much, but I had probably 10 or 15 really amazing animals at home, reptiles. And I ended up meeting my wife. And when we got married, I decided that I didn't want to be a fisherman no more, because I felt like I wanted to have a family, and I don't want my kids to basically be around drinking and all that, because I had a horrible childhood. And I just thought I need to make a good life. And my wife thought it was a good idea to buy a little pet store. And that little pet store turned into a bigger pet store. And that pet store turned into a bigger pet store. And then that pet store turned into a zoo. And we were doing we really had financial issues. So we had to recreate ourselves. And in doing so, we had first started an education. And then we went to the zoo. And then we started social media. And here we are today, kind of crazy. We got, between me and my daughter, we got 45 million followers, and across, all the social networks. And it's kind of crazy. It's Jay Prehistoric Pets, and then the reptile zoo. It's been quite an adventure. COVID kind of brought it all into, fast forward it real quick, because we were already doing good, but it really gave us a lot of traction because people were at home and they wanted interesting things to watch. And apparently we're interesting characters.
I love your social media. You have oh my God, a lot of reptiles. What kind of reptiles do you have? The most exotic?
Yeah, so literally when we talk reptiles, I mean, we have like a lot of kinds of reptiles. I mean, obviously there's thousands we don't have, but there's so many we have. And the animals are so interesting. It makes it so easy for us to get good content. And, unfortunately, some of the stuff is short, so we don't get the educational message we'd like out in the masses. But all our longer social media is like the 3 to 5 minute stuff does have a chance to get some education out there. So, but the part we like a lot are the people coming to the zoo and touching the animals, learning about the animals, and leaving with a passion and love for animals. Because at the end of the day, that's what we really love to do, is educate. And it's just such a exciting thing to get your DMs. I'm going to do this for a living now because of you. I'm going to do, I'm going to be a vet. I'm going to be a biologist. I'm going to work at a zoo. And I just get those all the time. And I just think it's really exciting. And I just always tell them, don't give up, keep working hard, and you'll get there, because sometimes it takes a long time. I mean, really, honestly, I've worked for 34 years, hardly making any money, just doing what I love, but I got to do what I love. And at the end of the day, I can't beat that. So it's not really about money anyway, if you're doing something you really love.
Exactly. Your dream came true. You are living your dream after 34 years, living with reptiles.
I mean, honestly, the struggle of doing it was the dream too. I mean, because it's more rewarding if you had a struggle to get there. If you just walk up and do it, everybody could do that. And so a lot of times people ask me, what did I do in school to learn how to do this? Well, the truth is I dropped out of school, and it was necessity because I had to survive, and I was trying to build my own future and all that. Well, on top of that, I honestly had learning disabilities, for like a lot of learning disabilities. And so there was a lot of issues with me in school and reading and writing. And so I just had to learn what tools I had, how to build this thing from the ground up. I mean, I didn't go buy a zoo. I didn't have any money to buy a zoo. I didn't have any money, even the money I had to work from fishing to put the down payment to buy the pet store, you know what I mean? And so it was a hard, long journey, but the journey itself was amazing. And I had, I always kid around and I say, I just decided that everybody works their whole life to go on vacation and to get what they need. And I think, well, you work all year to only get vacation. What about if you turn every day into a vacation and just work a little harder? Or should I say vacation a little harder? I cut the middleman out. It's kind of a weird thought, but that's how I seen it.
I mean, my internet is a kind of unstable. It's unstable. Okay. Sometimes I hear you and sometimes I don't hear you. Which is the last message that you say about the people?
About so this, I think you're talking about the part. So I just decided that basically when I was working, that at the end of the day, everybody works to get a week or two of vacation, to go somewhere, to travel, to have a good time. And I just decided at a very young age, what about if I just forget that and just work every day doing something I love? It doesn't feel like work. It's a lot of hours, but I go out sometimes and on vacation, I come home more tired than I go to work. So why not just have that much fun every day? And that's literally what I try to do. And of course, there's parts of having a business that are not fun, and are not living a dream, but you got to do what you got to do in order to facilitate the dream. And sometimes it's a lot of work, but I love what I get to do. And I love 90% of it. And I just don't think you can beat that.
Exactly. And the people has to do whatever they love to do. But
what I find is when you really love to do something, you become great at it, because the passion, money can only motivate you so much. And after you have money, realize it isn't as valuable as everybody thinks it is. Some people are watching right now going, yeah, right. You just, and it's not true. I've been around the richest people in the world. I've traveled I can't even believe where I've been. I've been to Dubai and Princes and Saudi Arabia, and and I'm not suggesting the people I met, but I've met a lot of people all over the world, including here in the United States, that aren't happy, and they have more money than you can imagine. So money doesn't make happiness. It's what you do with your life and the fulfillment deep down inside that really matters. And I just think that's the most important part, is to work on yourself at doing something that you're actually passionate about, because then you can actually do something that's going to make a difference.
Exactly, exactly. And your passion has been the with reptiles in your life. After 34, after more than 30 years working with reptiles, what you have been learning from them?
Well, I always am learning. And I always say, if you quit learning, you're probably either dead. It's got to the point where you can't learn anything because, when you're 16, you know everything. And when you're 57, like I am, you find out you know nothing. And so the best thing to do is when you're 16, realize you know nothing and try to learn more. And then you don't have to maybe take 34 years.
I
But
know,
you just
but I know you will learn always. But what do you think about reptiles? What do you think about them?
well, I mean, there's so many intricate parts of reptiles. I mean, breeding snakes. When I first started, zoos didn't even know how to do it. I would go to the thing called a symposium, where they would basically have all the zoos would come together, and they would let outside people like us in, and they would look at us like, "What are you doing here?" And eventually, we became the forefront leaders in breeding endangered animals that were not able to even breed in captivity. And so there's a lot of things we learned over the years, and genetics and colorations, and what an animal needs to be happy enough to reproduce. And it's a lot of times opposite what you would ever think. I mean, who would think a big snake would want a smaller enclosure in order to feel comfortable and safe, that it could actually decide to reproduce and have its offspring? You would think a big cage like the wild, but you know what? Nobody thinks about it. We go home and we get in a house, we lock our door, then we go into a room, and then we shut our door in our bedroom a lot of times, and then we crawl underneath sheets. Well, we're comfortable there. We feel safe there. And a lot of animals don't want a big open area. So that was something we had to learn early on, that big areas weren't ideal for a lot of things. And then all of a sudden, we started breeding and making a lot of babies, and a lot of them were literally endangered species.
Okay, and what about the risk? Because some of them are a kind of risky, I saw you in a viral post in the media while you was holding a
The big alligator.
crocodile. Yeah,
Yeah.
the alligator, yeah.
So here's the funny part. So a lot of people think I just picked up that gator just to make a video. But in real life, you ever seen those things that says what people think we do and what I actually do? Well, in real life, I just finished with an educational program and decided, hey, I want to make a viral video. So as I carried him back, I sang Crocodile Alligator in the back of a Chevrolet movie theater, song. And of course, I ain't a singer and I ain't an actor, so it's not that perfect. But it got 130 million views, probably half of them because people thought I was crazy. And but we'd raised that from a baby. And honestly, it's a very dangerous animal, but that animal is an animal ambassador. So being an animal ambassador makes a big difference. You don't go grab a wild alligator and think you're going to do that, because you're going to probably end up as his lunch. But that being said, I had to put it away. So I thought, why not make a video? And that way the people, follow me and maybe learn more about animals after, by watching the videos. And, the videos are interesting, and the longer videos are educational. And I would like to make more educational content, but it doesn't do quite as good as I'd like it to do. So we just kind of mix it in and try to become a little bit of everything if possible. But most importantly, doing what we love here at the Reptile Zoo in Southern California.
And what do you do in the reptile zoo?
So like right now, I'm sitting in a room, but outside is little kids running around, learning about animals, asking questions, and touching things here and there. And I just think that's the coolest thing on earth, that to take the next generation and have them fall in love with the animals enough to want to protect them. People watch my social media and they'll tell me, well, I saw a snake and I stopped the guy from chopping its head off with a shovel, and told them that maybe we should just scoop it up and put it in a bucket and take it somewhere and let it go. And they're right. And then they, there's a lot of animals that are dangerous, but almost all of them should be left alone.
Which
in
is
the
a
wild.
well, first, how many species do you have in the zoo?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How many reptiles do you have in the zoo?
If I knew that, I might be considered legally insane.
Or what kind of species
So,
what kind of reptiles do you have?
okay, so I will just say we have a saying: if it hops, crawls, gives your mom the chills, we probably have it here at the reptile zoo. So that's snakes, lizards, turtles, tortoises, scorpions, tarantulas. So those are, we're not just, I mean, we're basically reptiles. Some of those things are amphibians. We got tarantulas, they're arachnids. So we got a lot of kinds of animals, but mostly they all fall in that kind of creepy crawly and or gigantic snapping turtles or big alligators. So we have a lot of types of animals here. And we're not really a big zoo, so we don't have a whole bunch of the big animals. We're still working on expanding as the money. I mean, when you start with literally nothing, it takes a long time to get where you want. I always say we rub two pennies together, and then we rub two quarters together, and then sometimes we rub $2 together, and sometimes 10, and sometimes we got to go back to the penny because of bad economy or something went wrong. And we just have to hang on until it gets going again. And that's the way I've lived for the last 35 years, doing what I love. And the most important thing to me was keeping the dream alive and making it happen.
Yeah, the next step is like growing the zoo, grow the zoo.
I've been told by a lot of friends I should give up. And those same friends are so happy now that I didn't, and they're happy that I'm doing well. And so, give up. That's what I believe. And no matter what they say, if they say it won't work and they're laughing at you or they're criticizing you, it might be that you're onto something that they don't have a clue and you do.
So could you repeat the people wait 1 second, please. The people criticize you about your ideas, about your dream. Why?
Oh, my whole life. I mean, they thought, some of them criticized me because they thought it would never work. Some of them thought I didn't know what I was talking about because I was doing things that nobody'd ever done. I mean, when you're doing things that nobody's ever done, a lot of people, they just think it's not going to work. And some of the things I didn't even mention I was doing until I found out they worked. Like the way we incubate our eggs, the way we cut our eggs, the way we, genetics on what snake to breed to what to get different colors, how the genes worked. They'd never done it. So they didn't think it was right. And they thought they had their own ideas and they were stuck on something somebody learned, 40 years ago, and it wasn't true. So a lot of us live on things that we don't know the whole answer. We just know part of the answer. And so sometimes in life, you get revelations that you're moving forward because you're thinking outside the box. So I may not have did good in school, but I think out of the box because I'm different, and that different ends up to be my strength. And so sometimes I think in school they have a tendency of trying to put you in a square box and you're a round object, you know what I mean, or vice versa. And everybody's different. We all have our strengths. I really believe everybody has a strength, and it's just whether we're free enough to go find it.
Which is sorry, because the internet sometimes is unstable. I'm so sorry. Which is the part that people criticize you about yourself, about the fusions with animals that you used to do, or why?
So there was a lot of genetic things, for instance, that I did in my life that I would say that this gene works a certain way and makes certain color babies, and they didn't believe it. They would say, cutting eggs is dangerous for the snake, but really cutting the eggs open saves a good percentage of them. Now it's because all these things are becoming industry standards, and because they're successful. So a lot of times when you're doing something that's never been done before, you'll get a lot of criticism because they don't understand what you're doing. I get criticized for making a video of me carrying that gator like I talked to you about. They got 140 million views, but in that 140 million views on one page, I mean, it's obviously got a lot more views than that, But on that one page, we'll gain a bunch of followers, and those followers will watch and learn what we really do. And I think that things like that are really important. And a lot of times people don't understand your vision because it isn't their vision and they don't understand. And that's okay. But sometimes it's just, it gets a little old sometimes of people complaining, but I try not to let it bother me because I know what I'm doing. I know that, like I say, I know that I took that gator out, did an educational program, taught a bunch of kids, and then I'm putting the animal away.
Educational program, doing that for what reason?
Oh, because I'm carrying the gator, dancing crocodile alligator, that somehow I'm just trying to do that just for views. And I took the gator out, but really all I'm doing is carrying him back and just moving my lips different than I would normally move my lips. And it's part of the job. You know what I mean?
Oh, you wasn't dancing. You was just putting the alligator down.
No, I was taking the alligator from an educational situation and putting him back into its home.
Exactly.
And so sometimes some of the people sent me messages, "You're a horrible human being for pulling that gator out just to make a video." And it's like, how did you get that out of 10 seconds?
Okay, now I get it. I'm so sorry. Because the internet is unstable and I don't get it, but now I understand you.
So I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things that people don't understand because they're only watching a little piece of the picture. But if you came here to the zoo, then you'd see the big picture. The other day I pulled one of my favorite snakes out. Her name is My Love. And 20 little kids are around it petting it on the eggs. And they always think that all I'm doing is trying to, make these crazy videos. Well, those crazy videos is what gets everybody to watch, because the algorithm in general is the more people watching, the more they watch it. And it gets to be where, millions and millions of people see it. So I cut the little special moment out of a huge educational video. And of course, a small percentage sees the whole educational video. But that 8 seconds is like, monumental worldwide. And you know what? I love it. I don't care if people criticize me, because so many people get reached that would never want to save a snake, would never tell somebody not to kill it. And because they realize that all snakes are not mean. Not only that most snakes are not venomous. And they always think they're going to kill their neighbors. Yes.
That's a very important message. Could you tell me which is the message that would you like to share to everybody? Because I think one of the main message that you share is like this risky reptile that we are scared with when we see them. We probably can kill them or do something, but they won't hurt us. Which is the message that would you like to share?
Yeah. So the highest percentage of people getting hurt by venomous snakes are with people messing with venomous snakes. So when you go to kill that snake, you're probably increasing your odds by at least 100% to get bit, because that snake has no interest in you. It's just out looking for a rodent to go eat. And if it sees you and you just give it a minute, it'll go back and hide. You probably never see it again, because all they're out to do is find their food and continue what they do, and that's to keep the rodent population down. So when we interrupt that and kill a snake, we're not doing anything good, and we're just most of the time killing an innocent snake that has no ability to harm you anyway, that's just out keeping track of the rodents so they don't eat up all our plants and our gardens and run in our attics and destroy everything around. So they're the balance of nature, and so they just be left alone, like all animals. I mean, our snakes are like your cat and dog. They've been in captivity for decades. They don't know anything else. And it'd be like taking you and putting you back in, say, Africa with lions and tigers. And it would be a scary, horrible experience, and you'd probably get eaten. And that's exactly why these snakes should never be let go in the wild. And they could bring, disease to the wild that's never been there. So these snakes and these reptiles are generally born in, in captivity, and they're used to being, they literally like being held. I have lizards that will come to me like a dog. My gator, if I call his name, he'll go right at me and come to me. I mean, so there's a lot of things people don't understand about reptiles. They're not dumb, stupid, little snakes. Just think about this. If you try to go catch a mouse, you got to get a trap. You got to pay some guy. You can't do it with your own hands. You got 10 fingers. Snakes have no hands, no feet, and they make a living catching rodents. So how dumb can they be? They're specialized hunters, just like it's so we think of smart as it takes so much. We all are smarter than we think we are. It's just sometimes we're doing something we're not very good at. So that's why I always say that we can find our way. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I managed to find my way by learning, by basically working hard at what I am good at, and staying focused and not listening to the negativity. So that's kind of my message, really.
And teaching the people, no, to respect the reptiles, even if they look scary.
Animals. I honestly want people to respect animals and each other, and focus more on their lives, on what they could do better than everybody else's life that they think other people should do better. Because we're all different. Just like the reptiles, we have lizards that live in trees, and we have lizards that live on ground, and we have snakes that live in trees, and snakes that live in rocks, and lizards that live in rocks. It's all different. We're all different, and the animals are all different. And we all should just respect each other and the animals, and do the best we can with doing that together.
Exactly. And my last question is, like, I read that you also care about reptiles that are in extinction.
Well,
is that true?
I personally don't do a lot of things to change that, except try to motivate people to care. And if you care about something, you'll protect it. If you don't care about something, like a toy after Christmas, you pick your favorites and the other ones just get thrown on the wayside and in a drawer, and they never get taken care of. So for me, I like to think that I'm teaching kids enough about reptiles and making it interesting enough that they can learn enough to want to learn enough to actually make a difference in the future. And I find that I get a lot of messages from all over the world to suggest that that's working. And so that makes it feel really, it makes it feel real rewarding. And I feel like I'm, got a little purpose in the background, because, if I can bring people together, the families that come here at the reptile zoo, they watch social media together, and then they come here as a family. And, video games don't do that. TV doesn't do that hardly, because it's usually an adult movie or a kid's movie, or, and so somehow I've managed to make it from one end to the other end. And I just love the fact that half the people come in, they say, "Oh, my little kid, which is maybe 5 years old, introduced us to your stuff, and now we all love you." And then, or it might be, I sometimes ask, and they say, and the mom will say, "I found it, and everybody and the whole family loves it." I just think that that's the coolest thing, coming from a background with no mom, no dad, and no family. It kind of pretty rewarding to me. I mean, that's, to me, like, as good as it gets. Forget the money. I mean, I did it for 30 plus years with hardly any money, and that was my motivation. And that really makes it cool that, I'm having a successful year and things are going well. And it's kind of really nice to be on the other end, but that isn't that important as the rest of it to me.
Wow, that's amazing. It's very inspired. Your story is very inspired. Thank you.
Yeah, now I have a whole family, because at 33, 34 years old, I found my mother, then found my sister, then found my father, found my brother and sister there. So all of a sudden I have a family, but I spent till 33 without ever meeting a relative in my life. So I know what it's like to be alone, and I didn't like it. I mean, and there's some people that are in families that feel alone, and I know they don't like it. And so I just think that we need to learn how to get along, and the more of that happens with nature and each other, and it's a win-win.
So you found your parents now?
I did. I just ate Thanksgiving dinner with my mom and my sister. One of my mom, not only one mom, but my mom and one of my sisters. And then a few days before, I was with another sister from my father's side, and my dad never knew I even existed. So when I showed up, he was just in shock. And so it's a long story. I actually wrote a
So
book.
when it was it? Because I read that you didn't have them, but when did?
Well, 20 years ago. So
okay.
yeah, so I spent more than half my life alone. So when I worked with my daughter, obviously I had kids. So my first daughter, I used to always tell her her nickname is First Blood, because she was the first living relative I ever seen. And my adopted family had no family either. So I literally had nobody. So I had an adopted sister, but we weren't close at all. So
oh my God, okay. Wow, that's very
yeah.
interesting. And now you have kids.
There's a lot, yeah, big backstory to me.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
So,
okay.
yeah, two of the daughters worked with me for a decade and more. So they helped me.
That's nice.
My oldest daughter actually got out of college, worked here, and gave her, her 100% because the business was failing. So she was like, I can't leave now. We got to keep this thing going. You know what I mean? And so we've worked really hard to get where we got. And it wasn't about getting the money. My daughter could have went and made money, and I could have made money. I mean, I do pretty well in other ways. And so I wasn't stuck in this. I just wanted this, and I just wasn't ever willing to give up.
Nice. That's very good, Jay. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate. Something that would you like to add to this interview?
Say that one more time.
Thank you very much for this interview, for sharing your story with us. Would you like to share something else or add something else?
I don't know. I don't think so. I just like to say, I have a term called living the dream, and it's because in my life, I've been lucky, and no matter how bad things look and look impossible, that somehow something comes from that is so far beyond I could have ever imagined or dreamed, that I always say I'm living the dream, meaning that like I had no idea it was coming, and I'm awake, and it was bigger than I could have fantasized.
That's nice. Thank you.
I just think if everybody realizes that if they don't give up on their dreams, they can get there. And it's not just me. I've seen plenty of other people that have pushed through the tough times. The tough times, you're almost like a test to find out how seriously you really are about whatever you want to do.
Exactly. If you really like it or not.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the most important thing. And be strong even in that tough moments. Keep going and never losing your focus in what you want to reach.
Exactly. And honestly, it makes you free, because you realize you're not bound by anything, that it'll all work out if you just keep working at whatever you're doing. And you can do 1,000,000 jobs and be the best at it. You can be a interviewer and be the best interviewer in the world by studying who you're going to interview and pulling good questions, right?
Yes.
So doing that as good as you can makes you the best interviewer ever, and that's what we all. One of my friends he was a football player, and he came from nothing. He was in his position of football. He's basically a left tackle, I think they call it, and he protects the blind side of the quarterback. Well, he was the first one to ever make that one of the most important positions ever. And so he has a slogan, be the best to ever do it. Meaning that it doesn't matter what you do, just go do it as good as you can. And I think that's an important message. Don't think that just because you're cleaning toilets, well, be the best, be so good at it that the boss, is like, oh my gosh, we can't let this person ever go. They're twice as quick and do 4 times better job. And you know what? You'll find out the boss will be calling, hey, come over here. You really pay attention to detail. Before you know it, you might be running the company. And people don't understand that that's how it really works.
Exactly.
And so sometimes we go to work and we're monotonously working. And the truth of the matter is you're that close away to greatness.
Exactly. I agree with you, Jay. Thank you very much for your advice. It's very important. It's very true. And thank you very much for this interview. Could you say like a send greetings to the show? The show is Al Extremo. So you just need to say, hello, Al Extremo friends. I am Jay from Los Angeles. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Al Extremo.
Al Extremo?
Yes, Al Extremo.
Al Extremo?
Yes.
Okay. Alex, I hope you had
one second. Okay.
Okay. Alex Stremo, I've really been a fun. I hope you guys enjoyed what did you want me to say?
Just hello, Alex Tremo. I am Jay
Okay.
from Los Angeles. Greetings. That's it. Short message.
Hi, Alex Stremo. I hope you, dang it. Hi, Alex Stremo. My name is Jay from the Reptile Zoo in LA, California, and I hope you enjoy this.
Exactly.
Is that good? You want me to try again?
Yes. And the camera put it a little down because now it's exactly perfect.
Alex Stremo, is that right?
Yes.
Hi, Alex Stremo. My name is Jay Brewer. I'm from the Reptile Zoo in California, right by LA, and I hope you have a great time watching this.
Exactly. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jay, for your time.
Is there something you want better? Is there something you want better than I hope you enjoy this? You could cut that off, right?
Oh yeah, I cut it. Okay, everything is we will edit this.
Yeah, of course.
I will just grab some parts of the interview. In fact, if you can do a small video for us to show us the zoo, that would be amazing. I can add it. Like a selfie and hey, hello, Karina or Al Extremo. This is the zoo. This is the reptiles. Like a small tour.
Okay, send me your. I got your name. I'm sure. I just maybe say it. It's hard with your.
I can text it. Oh, my name, Karina.
Yeah, I speak Spanish better. So the good news. I have a very big Hispanic following, so it's really good.
Yeah, there are a lot of Latins there in LA, Mexican.
Yeah, just send a couple lines you'd like, and we'll try to make that happen, okay?
Oh, okay, that would be amazing.
Okay, thank you.
I will send it to you. Thank you very much, Jay. Take care. Have a great afternoon.
Hey, thank you.
Happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.